Good morning, class 12. I, Sana Uzma from the Millennium School, South City, Lucknow, will be continuing with the same topic, molar conductivity, in today's session. Children, if you remember in the last session, we discussed about the molar conductivity at infinite dilution for strong electrolytes and weak electrolytes separately. Though we were not able to find out the value of molar conductivity at infinite dilution for weak electrolyte through graph or experimentally, but for strong electrolytes we got the result. So we cannot leave the weak electrolyte without the answer, and to answer this, a scientist named Kohlrausch, as you can see here, the name is written here, he gave a law known as Kohlrausch law that helps us to find the molar conductivity of weak electrolyte at infinite dilution. Though experimentally it is not possible, but with the help of this law, it is very easily possible to deduce the value of molar conductivity for even for weak electrolyte. The molar conductivity at infinite dilution or at zero concentration can also be referred to as limiting molar conductivity. So children, you might get this term in question, that is limiting molar conductivity. Limiting molar conductivity also means the same thing. Okay, that is molar conductivity at zero concentration or at infinite dilution. So I hope this much is clear. Now moving ahead, that is to know what is Kohlrausch law. What does the law state? The statement of the law is mentioned here. You can see here, children. Kohlrausch law states that equivalent conductivity or molar conductivity of an electrolyte at infinite dilution is equal to the sum of the conductances of the anions and the cations, and this law is popularly known as Kohlrausch law. So I hope this is clear that to calculate the molar conductivity of or equivalent conductivity of a weak electrolyte, you simply need to sum up the molar conductivity of anion and molar conductivity of cation of that particular electrolyte. I have marked the keywords also here, children. While making the notes, you also keep on marking the points, because when it is asked to define any law in your board examination, these are the important points that should be there in your answer. So now mathematically, how can we express this law, Kohlrausch law? Here you can see, children, the mathematical expression is mentioned here for Kohlrausch law, in which the equivalent conductivity at infinite dilution is written, which is equal to the conductivity, molar conductivity or equivalent conductivity at infinite dilution for cation and equivalent conductivity for anion at infinite dilution. The sum of the two will give you the value of equivalent conductance at infinite dilution or at zero concentration. You can see here lambda sign is used. So don't get confused. Both cap sign and lambda sign can be seen for molar conductivity and equivalent conductivity. In fact, in your NCERT book, you will also find this type of sign to represent the molar conductivity. But the meaning of all these signs means the same. So here is the description of the different terms used here. This is the equivalent conductivity at infinite dilution. And this indicates the with subscript C, lambda with subscript C is conductivity of cation, and with subscript A is the conductivity of anion. So this is how we find out the equivalent conductance or conductivity of a weak electrolyte with the help of its component, that is cationic and the anionic component, by simply adding them up. So what we learned till now is mentioned here. What is Kohlrausch law in summary? It is the limiting molar conductivity of any electrolyte at or molar conductivity at infinite dilution, which is equal to the sum of the molar conductivity of the cationic and anionic component. So this is Colles-Roche law in summary. Here are some examples, children, to make it more clear to you. Some electrolytes, both strong and weak electrolytes, are mentioned here to make you understand the meaning of Colles-Roche law. The first example which is taken here is NaCl. So molar conductivity or limiting molar conductivity for NaCl will be equal to the limiting molar conductivity of Na plus and limiting molar conductivity of Cl minus. And for KNO3 it will be the sum of K plus and NO3 minus. And for MgCl2 it will be equal to Mg2 plus and 2Cl minus. Why I have multiplied here this particular anionic component with 2? Because we have 2 atoms of chlorine here. So you need to multiply the value of limiting molar conductance for chloride ion with 2. Now coming to aluminium sulfate, for aluminium sulfate also the dissociation will occur in the same way, and the value of the number of atoms will be multiplied with the limiting molar conductivity value. Since we have 2 aluminium atoms here, so this will be multiplied with 2, and sulfate we have 3, so this will be multiplied with 3. So this is very simple, as you can see here. And the numericals also for this same is very simple. You can easily attempt those numericals.